Welcome in, everyone. Flow and charts. Starting if you are new to our live streams, I go over unusual whales tools, look for flow, take live trades. We'll look at market tide, Periscope, look through some trades. It's been a kind of quieter flow day, so if you have flow, please drop that in the chat and we can kind of look at that. We'll start with market tide right now. Bearish market tide. Put premiums are ask side out of the money, and all put premiums pretty much in tandem. Almost the same here with calls as well. Call premiums are sitting bid side pretty much in tandem. Heavy negative net volume. This is a very clear bearish market tide. And looking at Periscope right now, we are kind of butted up against some positive gamma here at 7,700. Seems to have been kind of acting as some resistance here. We got a lot of negative gamma here. I kind of keep it as a bearish read as of right now. Here we'll try to get some scalps on as we get a little closer to the end of the session. Other than that, we can take a peek at a couple of our flow alerts from today. Let me just head over to our notable list here. A little quieter day though. We had these VRT 215 puts. These look like sells here. Let's take a peek at these. Longer dated here. They're 21% out of the money. Got some good cushion here. Again, looking like put sells here. You see your IV dropping as that flow comes in. Spot price is dropping. These look like classic put sells here, which would make this a neutral to bullish trade here. Just keep in mind, for them to collect all that premium, VRT doesn't actually technically have to move a cent, so that's why I use that word neutral with it. So that was one of them there. Then we had these ASs. The ASs were actually really interesting here. I kind of treated it as a lotto, though. Just if we look at this here, the way this hit the tape, it was really interesting. So let me show you guys why I kind of lean lotto on something like this. So let's go back down to the beginning of the day. All right, one more here. So if we come here to the beginning of the day, let's see, where are we? 9. What time did these come in here? 9:04. Okay, so one more page. All right. All right, here we go. So here's how these hit the tape here. So this is the part that kind of caught my eye more so on here. You get a nice big IV spike when they come in, and then you get another large IV spike here. You get that ascending fill here. This is that same time here. So this is an opening trade here for sure. 100% confirmed. You can tell that with the little bag lock, whatever you want to call it there. Now, the reason I kind of lean more lotto on something like this is if you follow that tape up here. Now, obviously, this is about a minute later. There's actually a pretty big IV drop here, and our stock price is up, 20 cents from there. So the tape wasn't super clear, but then you kind of see it through here with that spot price rising again here. Kind of more of a messier tape on something like that. Interesting flow, though, for sure. Not bad for a cheap little kind of lotto type play if you're going to do something like that. Then up next, we had the APPs. Let me pop these over here. This is the APP 911 370 call here. Clean opener here, 809 contracts against 31 open. We know it's an opening trade 100% here. Let's look at our tape as well. Again, nice IV spike when these come in as well. Spots filling up the ask. We filled the ask the whole way up. IV stays up. You get a little drop here, but it's only on one contract. Not a huge deal. These look like a buy to open as well here. Got some time on those. Then we had the big T must call that came in a little earlier here. Hey, those kind of made a little move intraday here. Big clean opener, 5,100 contracts against 97 open. We know 100% it's an opening trade. And even if we take a peek at it here, let's come back to our beginning. Actually, I'm just going to do this, make it a little easier. So Let's come back down here. Okay, okay, nope, we got it right here. So again, this was a really good one here. That tape was pretty clean here, so we had that IV rising. So that 3, this one we did, this was our first trade of the day here on this spot here. You can see that size being 3, volume 3. This is that first trade on the day here. So our IVs is here, and then you see it kind of pop up here again. Spots filling at the ask, you get a little pop here at the end. Tape looked pretty clean here. These looked buy to open, and they're already kind of up a little bit here as well. Plenty of time on those still. And then the BTDRs here. I want to come back to the feed here. So when these hit, again, this was a kind of like the iron situation from last week when they hit the feed here. So here's my timing, 10:26:08 Central Standard Time if you're joining the stream. This is very interesting. These came in at the same second here, and if we look at the tapes here too, big spike in that call premium when these came in here. If we look at the tape here as well, again, a nice IV spike when they come in, spots filling at the ask. These look pretty good there. And if we look at the 911 9.5 call, which I actually took some of the 9 ones. I took the 9, so that should be marked in the Anthony Flow trades as well. And if we take a peek here as well, we'll look at this one here. Again, nice big IV spike when they come in, spots filling at the ask. These look good the whole way up there. I did take some of the 9s there. I am down a little bit here. I'm down 14% on them. Not a huge deal. Yeah, those look really good, and kind of something to kind of touch on with the BTDRs here too. If you look at this here, if you look at that net premium here, so there's a big spike in put premium here. So you might think, oh, hey, somebody's being bearish on BTDR. Again, you always got to double check what's causing those spikes here. So if we go over to BTDR here, and again, you can see that clear spike here. So I usually start out here, just kind of look at the highest volume, see if there's any, heavy ask side puts coming in here. So I don't see any heavy ask side puts. So usually come in here, I'll pop that premium in, and you can switch off calls, obviously, if you're looking for what's causing the put premium there. You just want to see what that is. We have a bunch of short-dated, kind of non-directional, 100% multi-leg stuff. All 4 of these trades are related to each other. Not really anything super directional. And this is, pretty kind of junky flow. You're not going to get a true direction out of here. This is somebody, that they're doing just because they have to or whatever. It's not directional at all. So again, if you're looking at that spike in real time and face value, you're like, oh man, that's a big bearish play. But then coming in here and realizing, I mean, they're 142% in the money 3 days out. This is non-directional. There's nothing really in there. And again, see 199% out here, which are, I believe, related to that 27 there. Let's just look for the fun of it. Yeah, there's your, I mean, this is, the 27 there. I was looking, I was like, where's that? Yeah, so I mean, again, nothing directional in these here. They're super deep in the money, very short-term expiration. This is a nothing burger there. So again, that net put premium spike there is essentially meaningless then, just kind of going off that there. All right, then we had one more notable flow alert so far on the day. It was these CNX 91846 calls. These already kind of looking like they made a little move there. 320 up to 360 there. A little over 10%, nothing major, but just kind of looking at the tape here. Again, nice little IV spike when they come in. Spot fills at the ask here. These look buy to open as well. So kind of a quieter flow day for the most part. Hello, Oshria. Hello. Yeah, kind of a quieter flow day. I'm curious to see what happens with those AS contracts. Those are really interesting to me. I obviously more of a lotto, but those are really interesting there, because if I want to come back here and actually talk about those a little bit more too, since we got time. Yeah, let's go here. Yeah, I mean, you got those nice big hits here. So, I mean, that was the first kind of size there. Then, obviously, you have a little bit later there. But if we just look, oops, nope, I don't want to click that. I want to go here. Like, if you look at this as an overall here, I mean, this does not tend to get a ton of, heavy ask side. That those highest volume contracts kind of changed a little bit on the day now. But let me just put in a filter here. Like, let's say here's 60%. It's all favoring the call side of things here, so I'm kind of curious to see what happens with that. And also, even just kind of looking at that heat map on this one, this one's only going off open interest. We don't have enough kind of directionalized stuff intraday to kind of give us a read, but yeah, all that positioning is kind of up there, especially on that 35. Let's pop over the summary. Yeah, your 35 is that absolute gamma. Just kind of looking at that heat zone as well here too. Look what our price has done every time we kind of bounce into that put wall here, and we're right on that put wall here too. We've pretty much held that and kind of bounced out of that put wall almost every single time there. So I'm curious to see what happens there. And yeah, I mean, looking at that 31 day out there, a lot of attention on that 35 strike there. So I like that flow. It's just that tape was a little kind of messy at the end. I would still lean buy to opens on those though. All right, what do we got? What's going on Periscope wise? Yeah, we're just kind of chopping under that 7,700 there. Haven't really been able to get back above it for too long and hold it. Couple points above it there, but for the most part, it's been acting as a good resistance spot here. See anything coming in on the tape? I saw these Uber puts hit in real time here, so that 9/11/75 put. So I kind of held off on these. It wasn't the cleanest tape here, so if we look, it was that first candle here. Let me pop this over here. The fills weren't that great on here. So at first they were kind of good here where you're seeing that 33.62, that IV increasing, but then you see a nice IV drop here. Then we had some more bid side stuff come in here as well after. Again, not the cleanest fills there. I mean, you see that spot price bouncing around, IVs bouncing around, then we get a little more here. Again, IVs just but kind of bouncing around, spot prices filling up the ask there. Not the cleanest tape, and I'm happy I kind of held off because now you're seeing some more big bid side action there. Not really anything super actionable in that specific tape there. I liked him at first, but then kind of seeing the ending of that there, not super good there. How about these meta puts here? A little smaller whale for meta. Meta's already down kind of significantly, and I believe they're down last week. Yeah, I mean, we're down about 10% over the last week or so. 14% of the money's not too far, but it's kind of a small whale. We can look at the tape here just for some fun and some flow reading exercise. I mean, you get a nice IV spike when they come in. Spot is filling at the ask. Just kind of looking at this here. Now, okay, good example here. So, I mean, you see that IV kind of bouncing around here. It's decreasing, then it tries to increase again here. I always like to see what that price is doing when that IV does that. So, in this case, for puts to make money, obviously you want meta to go down. So that stock price is dropping here and that IV's dropping as well too. That's kind of a yellow flag there for me. Obviously, it's not a science where we're going to mix everything together. Like, yes, these could still print, but that's what makes me kind of hold off there. Again, you're seeing that IV drop and then it kind of pops again there. Yeah, it's not the best looking tape. Not the best looking tape. If you made me trade it though, just based off the net put premiums here, I'd probably lean buy to open on those, but not worth posting or kind of throwing money towards something like that. It's too mixed of a signal there. And I'm just kind of popping around here. Let's see, yeah, bid side stuff kind of quiet for the most part. How about these SPY calls that are coming in? We got those SPY puts yesterday live there. Ooh, this is, I got to double check open interest on this. Got 1,000 contracts here, 1,000 contracts right after that. Could be a fat finger by them, who knows? This is just double check that, make sure something like this carries over. Just because they're the same size and mostly at the ask doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an ad. And that second candle there's about split 50-50 anyway, so kind of a little toughy there. I'd want to see that open interest tomorrow. These QQQ calls here are getting kind of messy. I mean, you get another big spike there. what do we got there? 6,000. This is 5,100. This is about 800. So, I mean, between these two, again, you're very close to that 6,000. This is another one you'd have to double check that open interest on there. Again, just don't assume because it's at the ask, it's an automatic add or a buy when they're that same size. Now, if we had like another candle come in here, like let's just say 500 sized at the ask, I might lean more on those being adds there. But as of right now, this is something I got to double check open interest on. All right, I'm hearing dings. What do we got coming here? Ooh, big MU whale in here for the week here. So 0% out of the money. What do we got here? 1,100 contracts. What is kind of going on in here? So kind of some other spikes here. Doesn't look like we're close to that 1,100 here. You know, weeklies past Wednesday, though, that kind of you know, I tend to back off of the weeklies after, you know, Wednesday, just because theta starts to kind of pick up. Now these are very close to the money as well, but theta's going to eat weeklies away pretty quick here, and let's just see if that tape even gives us any good clues. Nice big IV spike when they come in. Spot is filling at the ask. Just kind of want to see what's that drop there. So it's a cent below the ask, not a massive deal. Get another cent below the ask, not a huge deal. Now, oh, excuse me. So now, I mean, up to this 14.27 here. I mean, I'm seeing that IV drop a little bit here. I don't like that. I don't like that for weeklies. Now, again, it's not necessarily going to mean that the trade's not going to work out. It can, obviously, MU can run very significantly, as we all know. It would just kind of be a yellow caution flag on here for me. You kind of got some off fills in here. They're weeklies. If you really, really like the flow, you take something out for next week's expiration. I mean, because this is a pretty bloody market tide here, and not really seeing a ton of call participation here. I'd be really cautious on taking a weekly on something like that. We can look at the heat zone on it, see how that looks, though. What we got there? Yeah, I mean that 819, 950 node here is your biggest number on the map. I mean, they're favoring the call side of things here, so they're assuming that customers are going to be long those calls here. I mean, you can look at that tape here. It's not a clean tape, but that's interesting to me. And I'm just kind of looking at the kind of roadmap here. I want to see us get over this 935 here, which is where's our put wall? 88. Oh, we're kind of far from that put wall. Call wall's up there at 1,000. Let's see that flip. Where's my flip? Not letting me go to that. All right, let's look at the spot here. 934. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got that roadmap here. I mean, I like that 940. Your calls and puts are very, very close, kind of size-wise to each other. That 950 is what kind of sticks out. Where's our positive gamma up here? So, I mean, maybe a little room up to 960 if you kind of start seeing it move up a little bit. Yeah, really interesting there. All right, looks like Brad's dropping us a contract to look at. Let's take a peek at that. Oh, Brad, I got one to show you too as well. Yeah, what is going on here? Let's see, IV drops when they come in. Oh, that bid ask is just tough there. What is going on with this here? Yeah, I mean, was that multi-leg? I gotta see what one you sent me again here. Sorry. STL 821.5. Okay, so this one's not multi-leg. This one's not multi-leg here. I want to see what that multi-leg one looked like. So it looks like it's probably that 918.5 and 6 call there. And then I think that's the one that we just looked at there. Let's see what this guy's doing here. Some sort of spread on this, and it's called debit spread. Interesting. What do we got going on? Yeah, I mean, 55 times a 30-day volume. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, don't know, and I mean, it's not really... I'm guessing it's because you're seeing that kind of spread come in there, so it's making that volume look a little heavier there. Yeah, really, really interesting there. Yeah, Brad, I'll show you. I gotta show you the one. So Nick actually showed me it. It's funny. I got it right here. Let me just pop it over. This was definitely an insider. Here, I got it right here. All right, let's do this. It was the UGI 35C for 821. Actually, Snorlax shared it too, it looks like. Yeah, look at this. This person got in right as that news broke here. Look at that, 60 cents up to 460 there. I mean, like, there's no way you'd catch something like this that quick there. I mean, that is just, I mean, a second before the news drops. And I don't know what the news was, but I mean, just look at that. I mean, 60 cents, just, well, just casual. I mean, this is the definition of insider knowledge on something. I mean, it didn't hit my alert. Nick actually just asked me if I saw it. I was like, I didn't see it, and then he like told me to look it up, and I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, it didn't hit my feed at all. I don't think it hit my feed. Let me just double check. I don't think it hit my tape. Nope, it didn't hit my feed at all. Did not hit my feed at all. Let me go back to that here. Let's go back to it. What the hell was that again? I got it right here. Oh, UGI, geez. UGI. Yeah, it was this guy. Yeah, it was repeated hits. I'm guessing because it was in the money when it came in, but I still have mine set so it pulls in stuff that's up to like 5% in the money, so it should have hit my feed. I don't know why this one didn't hit my feed. Strange. Yeah, I have to dig a little bit more. Yeah, that one didn't hit my feed though. That did not hit my feed, which is kind of odd. I got another interesting one. I know you were working, and for some of the latecomers to the show here too. These ASs were really interesting to me. Almost kind of more of a lotto though. Look at this heavy size that came in on these. Now I got to show you the tape because the tape was kind of odd on it. So if we look at the tape on this here, and I'm just gonna do 1,000, so I don't have to go back 3 pages. The way these hit here, it was so interesting. You got a big IV spike when they came in. When the other 10,000 size come in, another spike there. Now that fill had to have adjusted or something odd happened because we're up 20, obviously not 20 cents, like 16 cents, 15 cents. That spot price changed, but these look pretty good. It's just kind of that fill was a little goofy on those, but I mean, you get your spot price rising again in here, IV rising. These look pretty good. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And look at the net premiums the last 3 days too on this thing. This thing has been popping for call premiums here the last 3 days, and we haven't really seen a big move up either. You can go back and look at Monday's premiums on here. I want to see what these look like here. Are these still in? They should still be in. Yeah, these are still in. Doesn't look like they cut anything there. Then if we look at Fridays too, Friday might be more of a spread. So let's see, double hits there on Friday. Maybe I think we looked at this one. Everyone of the volume went with us here. So kind of answer your question with that, Brad. I'm just looking at this guy here. Did these 35s drop off? No, they added. Interesting. So this one's a little more tricky. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, though, that looks very interesting. But to kind of answer your question, so like, okay, do you ever wonder if the volume ends with a zero, like 10,000 active for I so kind of an example like that. I mean, you usually like when I notice it, like it seems like it's more just that kind of the big block trade where it's like 10,000. So okay, if we look at the my VRT short puts here, like here, I mean, I just kind of do the math with something like this. And this one's not a super good example, but sometimes you'll see it like where it's at, say, okay, well, no, actually, this is that same timing here, but it's not giving you that super equal number. But like here, so it's all that same timing, and that spot price is kind of decreasing here. So like something like this, usually what I see like, and this one's not a good example because it's not like that. Like this one would technically kind of be like 10,250. Then you see like a 50 size around it. I like to see kind of like that size like this. Now, if it just comes in, because I'm sure we can find like a trade. Like if this was just 10,000, let's just say 200 contracts here, no other flow on there. I'm kind of more a little leery back offish on that flow there. It's I think it's more like, and don't quote me, it might be more like institutional size there. I think there, because I mean, if you're putting a big 10,000 size trade on, you're putting down the a big black size type trade there. But like you'll see, I want to see if I can find one here. Otherwise, it's gonna bother me if I don't find one here. I'm just looking for like a big. Okay, so maybe these core wave puts might give us something here. Let's see. Oh God, that's not clean either. How about Google here? I'm just looking for a clean one. I don't need the flow to be good. I'm just looking for an example. No, I want a block trade. All right, how about these? We'll try these. It looks like we got the lock, so it should be that block trade. Okay, so like this is a decent example here. So like, okay, when I see it kind of come in like this, I like this a little bit more, because when you get the singular, big 10,000 size trade, 5,000 size trade, you don't really have like other flow around it to analyze with that. So like this, obviously our timing's exactly the same second here. There is no volume on this name before. Like, I think we can all agree that this is probably the same person. So like it's cool to kind of see this. So like if I add up this 12 size to that 1238 there, we're gonna get 1250 there. So yeah, I see that a lot, where you'll kind of see kind of some of those early runners come in there, some late size come in there, and it always kind of ends on that 50, or like a 5,000, 10,000. As long as I have kind of flow in front of it or behind it to kind of analyze, I don't mind it. But if it's just like, I just want to see if I can find just one big trade that we can't do anything. How about these like take two calls? Not a good example either. Let me try the, hey, we're starting to get a little pop on those ASs. Let me just put an opening trade here just so we can, just want to find that quick example here for you. So like these on-ons here, maybe they're all the same size. Okay, so just for the example here, I mean, like if it was just the 517 and that's all I had, I kind of ignore it just because I don't have that full context to look at anything there. If that kind of makes some sense there. But yeah, it's funny when you add up kind of the closest size, it usually ends in a even number like that. All right, what is going on here? What is going on here? Are my BTDRs doing anything here? I need to pop over my feed. I am watching those ASs. I kind of want to take a small just lotto position. They're already kind of popping up a little bit again there. But these BTDRs I actually really liked here. Trying to get a little pop here. The last 30. Yeah, those BTDRs I like there, because it was that double hit almost like Iron last week. That's what I like to see, kind of a double hit there. What are we doing on Periscope here? Just sitting in that positive gamma right now. It's been a really messy day of Periscope. Like if I go back to 8:30 this morning here and just kind of pop over here. I mean, this was a pretty messy day. I mean, just pretty wide ranges and just not clean setups there. And even just kind of looking at the volume as well here. Again, another very light volume day where it's just kind of pulling teeth to find flow. Market tide hasn't really flinched at all on those kind of moves up there. I'm just kind of looking around there. Let's see. Okay, okay, let's refresh this here. All right, I can get rid of that filter. Nope, I need the filter on. Okay. I don't know what I was trying to do there. All right, how about these long-dated shell calls? See you, Brad. Enjoy work. I know you won't, but enjoy it. All right, let's keep looking at these shells here and see if we can get a couple scalps going into close here. All right, let's see. So it looks like, yeah, this is our first volume on the day. So I don't have any flow before this to really kind of see how the big whale impacts the IV and so on. I would probably still lean buy it open. I mean, they're very, very long dated, 6% out of the money. I'm just kind of following this up. IV stays the same for the most part. Now we get a little drop here with that stock price rising. I'd still probably lean buy to open. A little further dated for me, and I'm gonna guess most people in here probably don't want to sit in something for 200 days and just kind of hang out. All right, what are we doing here? Seems like we're just gonna kind of hang out in this 95 to 700 area here. We'll see. It would be cool to get a little move into close. BTRD is kind of trying to move up a little bit here. Can switch over to that here. Oops, BTDR. Yeah, trying to catch a little bid there from the bottom. A lot of time on those ASs. I really want to get a little lotto position on there, but I hate telling people I'm getting a lotto position because then they don't treat it as a lotto position. I might snag a couple of those ASs. So I guess you guys in here will know I'm snagging just a very, very small little AS position. And those are I got to pull it up here. What was it? The AS40 call. I'm going to snag a couple fills here on this one, actually. See what I can get filled at. And these, I will let these, if it's a complete lotto, I am okay with these going to 0. So this is a hold to the end or some profits. Let's see. I'm snaking some at 25 cents here. 1840, 25 cents. Okay, filled. Hey, I got some at 25 cents there. I will take that. Let's get a move up here. I keep thinking about the lotto, so I'm like, all right, I might as well just get a little bit on those. See if we get a little move up on those. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, just that flow is just so interesting on it, where it's hard to kind of ignore it, but it's going on with on. Again, very long dated here. It is an opener, big spike in that put premium. Yeah, not much on that tape there to really give us any hints there. Again, just you got the one contract before, which is more than likely related to that, coming in at the same second. It was the first trade on the day. Yeah, not really a clean signal in that either. I mean, we're filling at the ask, but IV stays the same. No context to really look at around that tape there. What's changed on Periscope there? So they are kind of trying to build up a little bit down there at 76.85 and watching that 7,700 there. We can't really hold it. Let's take a quick little short here. Just try to target that. I'm going to put a very tight stop on this one here just because it's kind of a chase. Let's see if we can get a little drop here. See if we can get a little move down on this here. I like seeing that downside kind of grow a little bit there. Let's see if we can catch a little move here. I'm going to be really tight on this one, though. I'm only going to risk a point here for a couple points here. See if we can get a move down. can hear the dogs on the couch behind me snoring, and I can hear them. All right, let's see what we do here. All right, we're seeing a little move here. See if we can get a little bit more down. Oh, I should have did ES. I shouldn't be on MES right now. It's a little late in the day. Let's see. All right, Ocean, I'm gonna try to, let's see. I know you did a breakdown of the heat maps, but can you choose a ticker and show us how it works? Yeah, I can. Let me just get out of this trade here quick first, and then I will pick a couple. I'll show you kind of the process on what you want to do with that here. I'm just gonna flatten here. I don't care if it's break even. I'd rather do some education anyways. We'll get our chance for a scalp there in there. So no worries there. I would rather do this anyways. All right, so like kind of what I like to do for finding the no, you're good. You're good. The funnel, I wanted that to be on ES anyway, so I kind of messed that one up anyway, so I should swap that over there. So like, okay, kind of the starting point for finding like those heat maps that stick out there. So you'll want to use the market map here. So if you just come down to the little square thingy here, come down to market maps. Maybe if mine loads here. So again, you can kind of order this however you want. I just like to keep that on that X-axis. Geez, the dog is just snoring behind me so loud. He's out. I like to see that kind of percent there. Then I just keep the bubble size volume. The only kind of change I ever make is that Y-axis there, and usually I just switch it to volume or in the Greeks or premium, something like that. But so like if you're looking for those heat maps, what you want to do is if you go to that Greek exposure here, make sure you're doing Gex net gamma. So that's gonna tell you the names with the highest net gamma on the day here. So I usually only do S&P 500 only. Obviously, whatever you want to do there. So like what you're essentially looking for is just kind of those outliers here. So everything here in the middle is just going to be that zero here. You can see that here. So like you're looking for the big spikes to the upside, big spikes to the downside. So like just kind of a little order of operation. I'm just going to do a couple here. So like Nike would stick out to me. CCL would stick out to me. T would stick out to me. All these up here are going to stick out to me. SMCI. Let's just do these three just to make it kind of simple here. So like, okay, Nike, I come over to look at Nike. I come over to that Gex Vanna Charm area. So my order of operations, I typically look at that directionalized volume first. So this is going to give you that intraday volume and how it's moved, so on. So I usually just kind of try to find that biggest node first. So if you come over here and click one of these numbers here, so like the 825 here's obviously your kind of biggest node here. So if you click on that node as well too, it will show you like the calls and puts. So this assumes that so the difference between this and Periscope, though, Periscope is 100% confirmed market maker positioning. This is just assume if it's ask side, they're going to assume customers are buying. If it's bid side, they're going to assume customers are selling. So like when you see this here, so like if I'm looking at this little box, the 821.41 call, when I see minus 876,000 calls, that's telling me market makers are short those calls. So that would tell me customers are long those calls. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, is kind of that game theory is, hey, if you're a customer buying calls, the way to make money is have that price go up. And, the heat maps are kind of more of a roadmap more so. They're like, I wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, 41 strike, ton of stuff that's bullish here. Like I try to look at the different nodes here. So like where we are right now. So we're at 40.34 here. We're above that flip. So above that flip. And again, you can just kind of, if you hover over this stuff too, it gives you just a very basic breakdown of it as well too. But like above that flip. So that's what I want to see if I'm trying to be bullish. I don't want to be below it because it's going to be kind of that more acceleration area. So like, okay, if I'm looking at that 748 here, hey, price is at 40.33 here. I'm looking at negative gamma here at 40.50 or 40.5, whatever you want to call it, 40 and a half. I see their market makers are short calls, so customers are long calls. That's kind of bullish to me there. And I'm looking at this on 821 as well for the 41. Hey, I noticed the same there. So like this is a bullish roadmap here. So like I would read this as bullish here, and we're sitting right on that 39.5 is that put wall as well too. So I mean that's going to act as your support. Call wall's not up till 43. So I mean you got kind of a clean roadmap up to that 43 here. So again, you see those negative calls on each one of those nodes I'm touching. That is telling you that customers are essentially long those calls. And if you want to actually go and look at that flow too, if you just click on the box, it will pull it up. Now the flow is probably more than likely not going to be clean on stuff like this. Maybe not that one. Let's look at this guy here. So like this one, I mean, it's going to be messy flow here. It's trying to kind of pull that. Yeah, that's kind of the way to think of it there. Oshri is just kind of you want to be on the right side of the customers essentially. And that's how I think about it with Periscope as well too. Like you have to understand kind of like what happens at like the positive gamma area. So like if price is rising into heavy positive gamma, it's going to dampen that move up and kind of act as resistance. If price is falling into the heavy positive gamma, it's going to dampen that drop and act as support there. So it's kind of nice to know where those put and call walls are, and then just kind of use the stuff as a roadmap. I can bet you Nike's going to be in our heat zones for the day today. I really like this setup on Nike. This actually looks very, very good here. So I mean, if you're looking for something heat zone wise, I would say Nike looks pretty good here. I mean, especially on the week here. I mean, that looks pretty good there. That looks pretty bullish there. And then to kind of go on top of that too is I look at that summary. So that summary here, this only updates once a day. So this is from the open interest. So that directionalized intraday volume that we're looking at right now, you're going to see the changes in all this data based off that directionalized stuff when open interest updates tomorrow. So I mean, I kind of just go back and look and be like, okay, well, what were we looking at today, this morning when open interest updates? Just kind of look around there like, hey, absolute gamma was up at 40. We had negative gamma up at 40. You could have kind of went back to yesterday and looked at that heat zone as well there too. And yeah, I mean, like this would have been a bullish read. Obviously, it's hard to say now with us being up already, but yeah, like again, just and keep in mind too, negative gamma doesn't necessarily mean puts. Positive gamma doesn't necessarily mean calls. It's just knowing those positions at that specific area. So like, let's look at T here quick. We'll do a quick little glance at this. So I'm just going to go through a quick order of operations. So like, okay, I look here. Okay, I'm clicking. Is this my biggest strike? 132K. This is not the biggest strike. So it's 403 here. So what I'm looking at here, not 403, 414 here at 24.5. So this is telling me actually for puts with market makers along the puts, that's going to tell me, no, this is AT&T. For puts here, so seeing that they're long puts here, or not customers, excuse me, market makers are long the puts. That's telling me customers are short puts there. So they want that price to essentially stay above that. And now I'm looking at my flip zone as well too. That's right there as well. So I mean, this looks like a supportive spot here. And then just kind of looking here as well too, looking at that weekly. Again, there's your negative calls, which market makers are short the calls, customers are long the calls. And again, you see some short, so market makers are long puts and short calls. So that's telling me customers are short puts and long calls. So I mean, that's pretty bullish there. Pretty bullish there. And just kind of looking at that. Sometimes you'll get some flow on some stuff here. Like when I was looking at CMCSA, like you guys probably saw some of the flow there that actually kind of came in there. So I mean, like this, even this, I mean, I would say it's kind of a bullish read. But if I look at the negative gamma here, again, look at their market makers are short puts, so they're kind of trying to hope that price stays above that 23. Put walls at 24, right above the flip. It's got a bullish setup here, and just kind of looking at next week's expiration there too. Again, you see all those negatives on the calls. That's telling me market makers are short the calls, which customers are long the calls. And like if we go and like take a peek here, it's probably not going to be a super good example. Yeah, I have to mess with the flow a little bit more there because it's more gamma related than flow, but it's nice to see flow in there that kind of matches with that. And like SMCI here, let me just do one quick one on this one here. So again, hey, 183 is up here. That's not the biggest one. Here's our positive gamma. This is our biggest spot here on the map. So like this is, you can see market makers are long calls and long puts. So customers are short calls and short puts. So I mean, that's almost more of a pin zone here on something like that. When I see those calls and puts very close to each other, it kind of gives me that penny choppy feeling there. Now we do have some negative gamma above us here, and you can see it's short the calls here, but there's just a lot of kind of roadblock stuff in the way here. Again, it's a lot of, if you look at that, you're seeing the positive calls here, so that's telling me customers are short the calls. So they're just kind of maybe expecting some chop or price not to go up super farther. Again, it's just kind of a bumpier roadmap on something like this. And again, just hopping back to the summary tab there. Like if I look at the 3-day here, hey, well, there is some positive gamma up here as well. It's going to change, obviously, due to the open interest change that we're going to see tomorrow. But yeah, this is like if I'm just looking at this from an open interest standpoint, like this is, it looks bullish. Obviously, we're not really up today. Did we get a pop up today at all? We opened up at 38. What was our gamma at there? 38. So again, it's not going to always touch that price either. Like, just got to keep in mind, I mean, hey, if you're up at 37, I mean, 38. So, I mean, got kind of close to that 39, but again, that positive gamma is going to kind of dampen that spot there. So I mean, yeah, if you kind of use that market map, this will be a good video to kind of go back and take a peek at too, and kind of do that. And if you actually go and watch that, let's see, gamma green is positive, so we know it's yeah, so that gamma decay, it's just derived from open interest. So it's the same thing as that heat map, but it's just updated once in the morning. That directionalized intraday volume is what you want to see more so, because you're seeing that volume that's going into that name intraday, and then you can kind of get an idea of how open interest is going to change. Now keep in mind, some stuff like, you know, NVIDIA, Meta, all those, they have expirations on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and just always kind of like, let's do one more here. Let's see. So like if we look at SPY here and we look at the heat zone on here, like you just got to kind of be aware of it. So like most of this, the gamma is going to be on the 0 DTE. So actually it's not on this one, but let's just, how do I scroll this back over? Let me just refresh it. So like, okay, so for example here, like if you're looking at this here, you're like, oh man, there's a ton of gamma right here. Keep in mind it's a 0 day, so like this is not going to carry over into that gamma read for tomorrow. So like it's it makes it, you got to kind of keep that in the back of your mind, like especially on a Friday. Like if, let's say it's on a Friday today and like you see a ton of like, you know, negative gamma up here and it's a ton of long calls, so on, and you're like, that's a super bullish read. Keep in mind there's 0 DTEs and they're not going to carry over. So that bullish read really is kind of like, you know, invalid more so, because it was a 0 DTE. So you'll see that on the mega caps for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then obviously you'll see that for like SPY every day. So just kind of keep that in mind there. What is going on Periscope wise? We are just kind of pinned here at this 76.95 here. My AS is doing anything yet? AS is trying to catch a little pop. BTDR is catching a little pop too. That's what I like to see. That is what I like to see. Let's get some more there. I am down 2% on my BTDR calls. I am... Come on, load broker. I'm break even on these ASs here. Yeah, these ASs, there'll be a lot of those BTDRs moving up a little bit though. That's what I like to see. That is what I like to see. They're kind of trying to build up a little bit below us here. We'll have MLC here in 2 minutes and see if we can take a trade. And kind of just from a flow standpoint too here, like when I'm seeing flow kind of hit the feed like this too, I tend to kind of avoid that when I'm seeing, you know, call put, and like if I look at QUBTS here, Geez, did I spell that wrong? QBTS, geez. QBTS here. Yeah, I mean, I got some flow on the day here. It's you got your kind of mixer. I mean, this probably looks more long than anything there. I mean, these are kind of far out of the money, but I don't like seeing that flow when it's kind of that double tappy ask and call and put stuff there. Probably lean long on the calls though. All right, what do we got going on here? So we got some positioning up, we got some positioning down. We're just sitting on this 76.95 there. My green on, oh no, my BTDR is just kind of flopped there. I gotta pop these over in the next screen here so I can just keep an eye on them. So we got the AS and then we got the BTDRs. Yeah, let's keep moving up a little bit there. These ASs are trying to as well. And that call premium's still climbing on those ASs. That is a ton of flow on that expiration and that date there. Yeah, that is a very interesting one there. 818. Oh, we got we had earnings today. That's why it was kind of cool. Okay, so earnings already passed. I was like, oh, I saw the earnings come up there. I was like, I did not see earnings on that flow. Let's keep them running. Let's keep them running. Let's get a nice gap up on both tomorrow. Let's get a nice gap up on both. That is something I'm sure we all could like here. Hey, my AS calls are slightly green now. Where am I at? 20. Hey, I'm up 3 cents a contract. And it's one of those stupid 5 fills, though, so you're not going to be able to get a super good fill on. Or not. You won't get a super good fill. It's just one of those stupid, you got to do a 5-cent increment there. Oh, I think they might pin us here at 95. Pin us or kind of drop us here. Let's take a little lotto here, actually. I just want to see. Let's see if we can kind of just touch up here a little bit at 77. I think they're going to try to drop us here. Let's take it, and we're going to sit in it for a couple. Oh, please don't drop already. So I'm going to put a... nope. Geez, I backwards every time there. All right, so buy stop here. Let's just see if we can kind of keep moving down here. All right, get out of the way, you ugly thing. Let's look for a couple points here. That would be great. See what we can get here in the last 8 minutes or so. Trying to kind of build up a little bit there. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be kind of tight here. They're trying to kind of build up a little bit there, but they're still built below. It could kind of almost go either way. So let's just be kind of tight with our stop. If we're up a point or two, we'll take some profits there. Otherwise, we got a nice little tight stop on this guy here. Let's go test that pre-market low. Be a good spot to test. There we go. There's a little drop there. All right, we got our little pot, and it didn't even trigger my limit there. That could have been bad there. So okay, there's our little drop that we were looking for. Now let's see if we can snag one more snipe here into close. So they're trying to kind of build up again here. Not going to trade it right in the middle of the big negative gamma spot here, though. I want to see if we can get a little move down here and then see maybe some growth up here, because it seems like we're going to kind of pin here with that 76.95 being the biggest gamma node here. It's going to be tough to kind of gravitate too far away from it. We got to see a big pop somewhere else, and you can see all that downside position is already kind of dropping off a little bit there. Might be kind of a flatter finish, but they are trying to build up a little bit there. Up to the top. We'll see if we can get something here. All right, you can get out of the way. I hate these order limits that get in the way. It's Very annoying sometimes. All right, let's see what we can get here. Give us another trade. Give us another trade. Yeah, this is an almost either way. Also, no, they're kind of, and this is kind of not really a good signal either way. I mean, I'd lean bearish here because they're building up below again here. Do we want to chase it? No, we don't want to chase it. Don't chase it. Don't chase it. I gotta tell myself not to chase it. Well, there's our down move. That's okay. That's okay. We might get another one. We got 6 minutes left here. But you can see how it's... I gotta sneeze, sorry. Oh, man. You can see how they're kind of building up below here and then building up above there. I mean, it's tough because it's gonna be tough to kind of get away from this spot right now. That's the thing. They are trying to build up below us, though. Trying to kind of build... Okay, so what do we got there? There's our update. Yeah, it's... 95 is gonna kind of act strong here. I mean, that dropped off a little there. I mean, it's a pin kind of bearish read, I'd say, here right now. Maybe they try to dump it into close. Hard to know when it's that big gamma there. And again, you just see how we're kind of chopping at this level, not giving us a clean way away from this. Let's see if we can get that. Just gotta get something away from this pin here. All right, update. Nope, that's a flow. All right, let me... They're building up below. I'm gonna chase this short here. It's probably not a smart chase, but hey, why not? Why not? We'll just put a tight stop on this guy, like right here. Probably go red on the day if we get stopped out, but I'll just move it like right here. I mean, that's, yeah, kind of hurt to get stopped there, but let's just see if we can get a little pop down here. I'm just gonna actually be smart and kind of move this up here a little bit. I do like them building up below there. That does not look good for upside, but we'll see. It can switch up very quickly. Let's see if we get a little move down here. Let's get a new low of day. Give me a new low of day. Give me a new low of day. A little more selling pressure. A little more selling pressure. What did we do there? Oh, they're still down there. Let me... I don't like that adjustment on... I hate switching back and forth taps because I look over and it's down. They kind of built up there, but I mean, they're still kind of building up below there. I'm just going to throw... Nope, I keep wanting to throw it on, so we get some profits on it, but it's not giving us enough. I'm going to move my limit up a little bit here. Let's just see what we do. What do we got? 3 minutes left. All right, we're up a little bit here. I'm going to just set this right here so we got a point at least. All right, now we're getting our move down. Move this guy down. Let's move this down. Oh, okay. Keep dropping. Keep dropping. We got a new low day. Okay, so it stopped us. That's fine. We got our... What was that? 77.14 to 7. So about a point there. So that's what we were looking for. We were looking for a new low of day. We got our new low of day. Can't argue with that. Let's see what we're doing here. They're built. Yeah, we're going to kind of hang on around this 95 here. Not really. It's just growing. So I think we're going to kind of pop back up to that a little bit here. It's going to kind of quietly pop right back up to that. But hey, we got a new low of day. That's what we were looking for. That's exactly what we were looking for there. if this accelerates through here, I'm going to kind of laugh. What do we got, a minute left there? Yeah, we're going to probably not going to snag another trade there, but you can see how we're kind of coming up, and it's just tough to get away from this heavy gamma node here. I mean, we've just been, I mean, a couple points here and there, but it's not anything massive to like, hey, let's snag something there. So they're built up a little bit below us here. Maybe a quick little dump into close. Last 30 seconds there. Let's see what we do. Let's see what we do. A little pop. Let's see. Yeah, that last minute, 30 seconds, kind of tough to trade that there. Well, it's trying to give us a little down there. But again, we're just sticking kind of by. Oh, yeah, now it's dropping. There it goes. But again, you see that we get those nice big wicks on it, but where's that price kind of gravitate back towards that big heavy gamma on there. But yeah, there's our session for the day. But other than that, that's all I got for today. Good little session, good little heat map talk there, and yeah, that's all I got. We'll be back tomorrow's Wednesday. We got whale watch in the morning, so feel free to come and hang out with that. But other than that, that's all I got, and yeah, we'll be back at it tomorrow. You guys have a fantastic evening, and see you guys later.